Hi YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about creating a secure password. A lot of people always wonder about how you do this. Everyone knows that you should avoid the common passwords like password1 or 123456 or even QWERTY. But most people don't really know why. This video will examine how hackers can crack a password and what they do with them, as well as giving you tips on how to create a secure one. Some people believe that the only way to create a secure password is to make a bunch of random numbers and letters that are hard to remember. I'll show that in fact it's possible to make a secure password using only normal lowercase dictionary words. So let's take a look at the mind of a hacker. A little lesson in offensive security. Many of my clients have security concerns, and so it's only logical that a good web developer be versed in this. As they say, the best defense is a good offense. So where would a hacker start? Well, the first thing they would do is to gain access to your database. That's the place where all the passwords are stored. There's a lot of ways to do this, and I'm not going to be covering them in this video. However, if you'd like to know more, either send me a comment or send me an email, and I'll do my best to answer. So after they get access to this database, they don't have this list of passwords right away. Instead, they have a list of usernames and passwords that have been hashed. So what's a hash? Well, hashing is a technique in which a piece of text, called a string, is put through a process in which it transforms into another string. Parts of the information of the original are lost, and the result is something unique. Well, not necessarily unique, but the chances of a repeat are well under 1,000%, which can then be converted back into the original. So, for example, if I were to type the word Zanzara into a simple hash function, it might say delete every other letter, then replace all the Z's with Q's, and shift every other letter that wasn't a Z up one, resulting in the string QOPB. Now, even knowing the process, there's no way to turn QOPB back into Zanzara, because there's no way of knowing which letters were deleted. This way, when you log into a site and you type Zanzara, server runs it through a hash, gets QOPB, and checks it in with the database to see if it matches. Common use hash functions are actually much more complex than the one I described, but I think you get the idea. So if these hashes are impossible to reverse, then how can hackers crack them? Well, the solution relies on something called rainbow tables, which are these massive lists that can take up gigs and gigs and gigs of space. Just to give you an idea, a rainbow table just for numbers and letters for passwords, say under 8 characters, would have about 150 quadrillion entries, which would take forever to run through. So these tables contain a list of these unhashed phrases and the hashed phrases. If a hacker wanted to crack every password in a large database, I'd say by the time he finished with just a couple of them, both of you would be long dead. So how do hackers solve this problem? Well, the short answer is that they use smaller rainbow tables. Some only include dictionary words. There's only about 200,000 of those, and their variations as well as some common passwords. Sure, they don't get as many, but at least they don't have to wait till the sun explodes. So now let's take a look on how to create a secure password that hackers won't be able to crack. Like I said, a common misconception is that you need a bunch of random numbers and letters and weird punctuation to do it. There's a lot of ways to judge a password strength. For instance, your birthday might be impossible to crack, but easy to guess if somebody knows you. But for now, let's just focus on how many guesses it would take at random, on average, to crack it. So let's make some comparison using a unit called bits. So, starting with this first one. Fish. 3 bits. Cracked in a second. Microsecond, actually. Then let's look at FI $H. That has 24 bits. Still pretty easy, but a whole lot better. Now let's look at random numbers and stuff. So capital O, lowercase v, $D, 9, Y, M. 39 bits. Better than fish with the $sign too, but there's no way you're ever going to remember that. Now let's look at one. Go fish. 45 bits. So what's happening here? It's just 2 words. Why is it so much better than the last one? Well, that's because, guessing one word is just, 1 in 200,000. The 2 words are 200,000 squared. It's about 40 billion. See what happens when you try 3 or more words. Life is good. 59 bits. Life is G00D. 62 bits. Not much better. Or how about one for Netflix? Type in, let's watch a movie. That's 4 words, 91 bits. So now you know how to create a secure password. It doesn't have to be something you can't remember. Just a few words strung together will work fine. So you're safe, right? Well, maybe. Even with a secure password, it's possible that it might be compromised. For example, a hacker might get your info through some code that catches it before you log on, before it goes through the hash. Maybe the database doesn't even use a hash. Potentially, they might have a keylogger on your computer And maybe you even got tricked into giving it out through techniques called social engineering. Sometimes there might be someone working at the site who's just stealing info. So now what? You've created a password, but it's been stolen anyway. Well, first thing I recommend is changing your password every few months, as well as installing good antivirus to prevent against keyloggers. Be wary of those who you give your password to, and try to favor sites with HTTPS in the URL. The S stands for secure. Also, make sure that the site you are on is really the site you intended to be at. You just look in the URL bar right there. Most importantly, don't use the same passwords for different sites. The hacker has the username victim and the email address victim@yahoo.com. The next step is to check Yahoo to see if the passwords happen to be the same. If they are, then you're out of luck. The hacker can now use this to check other sites like your bank account. Even if you use different passwords, they can just click the forgot password link and reset it with your email address. Bank accounts, email address, and anything like that need to have separate passwords. There's a tool that I use to keep track of all my passwords. It's called KeePass. It's free, it's open source, and it's fairly popular. As a result, the open source lets you compile it, checking against the downloaded version on the website, and you can rest assured they're the same. Really, for this, all you need to do is have one secure password, and it encrypts everything into a database on your computer. Now you can copy and paste this into web forms. The clipboard even clears after 10 seconds. There's a password generator on it, and you don't got to worry about keyloggers this way. So in conclusion, 3-word passwords are extremely secure. Don't hesitate to use them. Don't reuse your passwords, and finally, programs like KeePass are a great way to manage your passwords without worrying. Hopefully this was helpful, and thank you for watching.